Let me start by introducing myself. My name is Mr. Jeremy Achariam. I am the head of the AUSMAT department. And interesting story is that I am also an alumni of MCKL. I studied there some time ago. Well, you know, as fate has it, I'm back here again to talk you through this afternoon. I'd like to just thank you once again, you know, taking your time off, coming to join us today. I know it's a long weekend. Many have had travel plans to go out of the out of Kuala Lumpur and so on. But thank you for taking the time of joining us today and coming in this Saturday afternoon. All right. Now, just to give you an idea a little bit about what the FutureEd series is about, it's kind of like something that MCKL has really thought about, looking at how education and in fact all industries in the last 2 years, how it has been, you know, the keyword here would be disrupted. I think every one of us, when in any area, any aspect of our lives, have been impacted somehow by things going online and things being digital, you know, in some way and somehow. Education has not been spared as well. So the keyword that we, you know, kind of think about is the word disruption. And we're looking at the word FutureEd series is to kind of like look at what are the things that are happening now, the jobs of the future, the things that are actually affecting and impacting all our industries. So we thought it would be an interesting thing to explore. All right, and today the FutureEd series is actually focusing on something that we look at every day, right? Some of us, maybe when we get up in the morning, the first thing we may look at, it is no other than our phone, right? When we look at our phone, we are immediately connected to social media, and immediately there's a flurry of information coming to us, you know, sometimes good information, sometimes information we need to check. And we thought it important today that we're going to look at this topic, sliding through today's media landscape. All right. And we were thinking, who is it that we can, you know, kind of invite to be our guest? And, you know, why did we choose media? Well, you know, every Asian family has the kind of aspiration, you know, either to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer, an accountant. These are fair enough, good jobs, stable future in a sense. But what we have seen in the current trends, you know, like if you talk to the current generation, a lot of them are kind of departing a little bit from that professions in a sense, and looking like things like quite lucrative things as well. Like if you talk to some of the younger people, they probably tell you that, you know, I want to be a YouTuber. You know, one of them told me this, one of my students, in fact, you know, and I was like, oh, YouTuber. At that time I was fairly new to the concept. And you know, as you follow things nowadays, you see that, yeah, you know, you can possibly make a life or make a living out of it, although it's not conventional. All right, but that's something, yeah, that we are kind of looking at, and the future is going towards that kind of direction, you know, where things are not conventional, things are changing at a very rapid pace. And if we don't adapt to that, if we're going to stick to our conventional way of thinking, then we're going to be left behind. All right, so we thought it's a relevant thing, it's a relevant theme to have, and we're going to bring that to you through today. Okay, so today specifically, we're going to be looking at the media landscape since it's so relevant to all of us. Okay, and we've got a very special guest with us, who is an ex-student and alumna from MCKL. All right, a very interesting personality. I'm just going to introduce her in a couple of words, and I'm going to allow her to come on shortly. So let me just introduce to you our very own MCKL alumna, Ms Pritha Manivannan. All right, Ms Pritha Manivannan is an MCKL AUSMAT. She did the AUSMAT course with us, alumni who graduated with a bachelor's in arts, majoring in journalism and communication. Okay, something very interesting there, yeah. She started her career in Astro Awani as a journalist, a news anchor and producer. So some of you may have seen her before on TV. All right. She was presenting the main news at Bulletin Awani and later presented Astro Awani's first English news night. She also hosted several other current affairs shows and was one of the most familiar faces on Astro Awani. All right, you can Google this, you can check it out, and I'm sure you'll be impressed at what you see. Okay, she later moved to Media Prima and was tasked as a senior producer and news anchor for TV3. She has worked on multiple renowned shows as a host and producer. Among them was TV3's older show, Money Matters, and the legendary Nightline. Okay, Pritha has also won a number of awards, including Best News Story Reporting in the Bermuda Journalism Award back in 2016. Pritha now works for Shopee as a senior producer for the live streaming team. All right, impressive, yeah, what I was just reading, and just a brief detail on her profile. And you could imagine if you are parents sitting here, your son or your daughter coming and telling you, look, I want to go into media, I want to go into hosting a TV show and something like that. And you probably be thinking, what is the future in that? What can you possibly do? But I'm going to allow Ms Pritha to walk you through that this afternoon. All right, walk you through her experience and what she has gone through, and quite successfully at that, as I just read through her profile. And she's going to tell you a couple of things that are really quite interesting as to where the media is at this point of time and where education is, all right, unconventionally, and how things are going in that direction. So without further ado, I'm going to pass the time over and introduce you to Ms Pritha. All right, Ms Pritha, welcome once again to our show. And yeah, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jeremy. It was such a pleasure listening to you speak. I mean, I've known Jeremy for a while, since he was an alumni as well. So it's so good to see Jeremy, heading AUSMAT, because honestly, this AUSMAT was a lifesaver program for me in MCKL, because after my SPM, I really didn't know what to do. And I was quite lost because, as Jeremy said, going into the media was something really unconventional. So AUSMAT was definitely a lifesaver. So before I get into the deets, let me just introduce myself. But before that, I hope all of y'all have taken your lunch and everyone is, ready to listen to what we have to share with you today. Sorry, I'm like literally starting in the middle of the slide. Okay. All right, guys. So as you guys know, today we're just going to speak really briefly about sliding to today's media landscape. And I have a lot to share with you, but let's see if we can get this done with the time given. Okay, but before that, I'll just introduce myself briefly. So my name is Pritha Manivannan, for those of you who do not know. I have 11 years of on-screen hosting experience. So my hosting experience was not just limited to news. I did other entertainment shows as well, and also current affairs shows. And I've hosted approximately 70 TV shows, including news, current affairs, and also entertainment. I've also hosted shows for global platforms like ZTV, Dubai, ASEAN TV, and also Vijay TV. And on top of that, on top of all the Malaysian channels like Astro, Media Prima, and also RTM. Right. And that was my hosting experience, but production is a completely different thing for those of you who do not know. So production is where the back end work happens. And I've got 8 years of production experience as well as a producer. So I've produced contents for TV and digital platforms. I've produced over 30 shows with almost over 5,000 episodes done up to date. And for some of you who do not know, some of the most familiar TV shows that it might sound familiar to you would be Money Matters, TV3, Nightline TV3, Sweet Tooth, Astra Awani. Malaysia Memilih was the election show. So if you guys actually followed Astra Awani during the election, you would have watched Malaysia Memilih 2018 throughout for almost a month before the election and after the election. So I was also hosting Malaysia Memilih, Bulletin Awani, and also Awani 745. And currently now I'm a senior content producer in Shopee. So I do understand there will be a lot of questions coming in on why did I make the shift, from TV to digital, which is basically Shopee, which is an app, which I will also give you guys an explanation later in the presentation. So let's just start off with how I started my entire presentation talking about how much I love AUSMAT, which is something that I would say changed my life. Okay, because I was the kind of person, to be very honest, I wasn't a very studious type. That was my older sister. She was the, super studious person, a bookworm who reads, studies, she loves studying. She became a doctor. So, you can actually see that path, right? So I was the complete opposite of her. I was the kind that after my right while I was doing my SPM, I didn't know what I wanted to do, because all I wanted to do was become the next Oprah Winfrey, honestly. That's all I wanted to do, but I didn't know how to get there. I didn't know, should I study for that, or should I just go to a media company and tell them to hire me, or should I, like, go for trainings? I really didn't know what path to take. And I think it was very important. And I'm glad they're having this FutureEd series, because for those who do not know, who was in my position, now you'll know, because I'm going to share with you. But yeah, so when I was a bit lost after SPM, not knowing what to do, what to take, I actually I did AUSMAT. So I went for the education fair. And then my mom, by the way, works in MCKL as well. And I was quite determined not to come to MCKL because, my mom was working there. You don't want to come, you be in a place where your parents are working and, watching over you. You just want to be having fun and, it's college life. And then I went to the education fair, and then I met up with my mom's colleagues from the marketing department. And then they were like, oh, if you find it so difficult to do A levels, which is like 1.5 years, why don't you do AUSMAT? It's just 11 years. Sorry, not 11 years, 11 months. And I was like, oh, that's not bad. 11 months is really not bad. It's just like less than a year. And then I went through the whole course, how the course works, like where you have 50% of coursework and then 50% of assessment. I went through all that and I was quite impressed with it. And then they also said, like, AUSMAT during my time, I'm not very sure how is it now in MCKL, but during my time, AUSMAT was a very, a very small group of people where we really felt like family. So as you can see, that was our entire AUSMAT student head count. Okay, so these pictures, this was my batch. It was the 1101 batch. So we really were really close knitted, all of us. We were like family. We were like more like family than friends. We spent a lot of time together. We studied together. We did our coursework together. There was a very healthy competition going, where we actually helped each other a lot compared to getting things done on our own, because I guess that's the kind of culture MCKL practices. And I kind of learned that culture from MCKL, because back in school, I felt like it was a very rough competition where everybody just wants to get an A and, get 10 A's for SPM and just be the golden student. But over here in MCKL, it was a very different culture. We had people coming from different background, different schools, where we came to MCKL and we started learning how to be like a family, how to help each other, and yet score the marks, and then the best part is our team. I mean, the entire MCKL is like that, where they don't just study, they learn to have fun as well. And that's one thing I learned only when I went to MCKL, because coming from, a school, I came from Convent Bukit Nanas, where we are very, very, very education driven, where, you have to, if you don't get your 10 A's, or you're a bad student. So, so I came from that kind of background. So when I came to MCKL, I was quite, surprised, or maybe culture shocked, I would say, when I see people actually they study when they're supposed to study, and then right after the bell rings, like class is over, they head on out to the field, to the basketball court. They're playing, they're having some fun, and then they come back to the library, they're doing their assignment. So it's a very healthy culture which we shared. And if you can see the picture on your right, that was a trip we made to Singapore. So we thought, all study and no play will be really boring. So we actually organized our own trip to Singapore. And we included our lecturers in it, just so it is, safe. So yeah, we got 3 lecturers to follow us, and we organized the trip to Singapore, and we had a lot of fun. So yeah, and the picture on the right is our graduation day. So that's when we graduated. Like all of us, we graduated. We all really did well. Trust me, our batch was quite golden batch, I would say. We did well. We did quite well. So yeah, we were really close. And this was during the graduation day. And the picture on the left is both my parents, my dad and my mom. So my mom was working in MCKL for almost 30 years, 30 over years. So she has been with MCKL since MCKL was at the start point. So trust me when I say I grew up with MCKL because I was there most of my life. So yeah, we were like family lah, to be honest, and that's the best part about MCKL. I can say it was a culture. It was not just about going there to study. It was about a culture that I learned and adapted, because when I moved on to university, that culture was no longer there. Everyone was on their own. So it was a culture that I really appreciated in MCKL. And if you see the picture on your left, it's something I wanted to share. It was a note. We all have our own lockers. We used to have our own lockers. And what we used to do is our AUSMAT batch, we will actually paste notes on our lockers. Like we will just paste for each other just to make their day. So when you come into college and then before you open your locker, you see someone has written a note for you, a really nice note. So it starts your day on a positive pace, you know. So that was something, that was a practice we used to do as well. I don't think it's still going on, is it? Oh, it does. There is. Okay, so that's great. And the picture on your right is my favorite lecturer. So he was Mr. Ganesan. He was my English lecturer. I used to call him Mr. Sunshine because he just comes into the room and he cracks really funny jokes and makes everybody laugh. And he's really cute. He reminds me of Dobby. But yeah, he was a really, really good lecturer back in MCKL. So there's all this like hit a memory to you, Jeremy.
Right.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of people will ask me now, you know, like, okay, post AUSMAT, we know you did AUSMAT. We know you loved AUSMAT, okay, and we know it brought you somewhere, but post AUSMAT, what did you do, right? Like, how did you get into the media? So for me, how to step into the media is really, you don't necessarily, to be in the media, you don't necessarily need a degree in media, to be very honest. You can have any degree, okay, as long as you have what it takes to be in the media, you can actually go into the media. But it is good to always have a degree in media if you already put your head to it, because that way you're prepared and you have the knowledge, like a base knowledge, before you go and have like a hands-on experience at work. So for me, I didn't do mass communication. A lot of people do mass communication to be in the media, but I did not do that. I took Bachelor of Arts. I did my honors in and majored in journalism and communication. And I was also an AUSTRA scholar. So after I graduated AUSMAT, I used my AUSMAT results to actually apply for the scholarship, and I got the AUSTRA scholarship. So that was like, yay. That was one of the happiest moments for me as well. So yeah, so basically how to step into the media industry is you need to have basic knowledge in main three things, which is broadcasting, linguistics, meaning language, whatever language your media is going to be in, language, and also public speaking. So if public speaking is one of the most essential criteria when you want to be in the media, even though you don't want to be in TV, you want to be like in print media or online media, you still need public speaking, because as if you want to be a journalist, or if you want to be very honest, I think public speaking is a skill you need for any job, because PR communication is something that will bring you a very long way. So, but don't worry if you think that you do not have public speaking skills in you. I think that will somehow rather grow as you get your experience, your hands-on experience in your job. So for those of you asking me how to step into the media industry, to be very honest, there is no set way to step into the media industry. If you want to get a degree on it, you can do what I did, which was Bachelor of Arts, and I majored in journalism and communication. So you have that journalism background, and that brings you into TV, right? And or you can even do PR, public relations also brings you into media. You can even do media studies, that brings you into media. Or even if you want to do mass communication, that directly leads you into media. So anything at all basically leads you into media. Even if you do your degree in English, it brings you into media. So there is no set degree that you can take, but to be in the media, you need to make sure you have a base knowledge on broadcasting, linguistics, and public speaking. That's one thing I would say. All right, and for media studies, what can you expect, right, when you are studying in the for media study? What can you expect when you go into the media? Because you want to know what to know, right, before you step into the media, before you step into getting a job. So to me personally, I felt when I was in uni, when I was doing my degree, of course, I had a very good base knowledge of what to expect. But whatever I learned was a very basic knowledge. Although when I was in uni, it felt like, oh, this is the real deal. Oh my God, I'm learning all about media. But it was actually just a very basic knowledge. And in all honesty, the media industry is all about on-field experience, like hands-on, where you have to go into the media and then experience and learn and learn and learn, right? But what was basically commonly taught to me in journalism and media studies was basically journalistic skills, right? Like, and journalistic skills does not only apply for journalism or does not only apply to be a reporter or to be in the news. It really applies for a lot of other things in the media, from content creation to producing, to curating questions. Even if you're doing a talk show, you need to think of questions to ask. So all that comes under journalistic skills. So media studies does actually teach you a lot of journalistic skills. And then I missed one out, which is broadcasting skills. Broadcasting skills is basically how a program is broadcasted out, right? So you learn all the stuff, what goes behind the scenes. You know what goes in front of the scene, right? In front of the scene, a host speaks and they interview someone and all that we know. But what goes behind the scenes? Is it just all about script writing? No. There's a lot of other things that is required to do before you actually put a program out on air. So what are the broadcasting elements that you need to know? Editing. Editing is something that is very crucial to me, because I feel like, of course, we have editors to edit videos and do everything, but to have editing skills is crucial when you are actually in a media company, because sometimes you just want to get work done fast, and media is a very fast moving industry. So things change like that, like in the media, like it doesn't stay stable for a while. No, every day there's new changes, new things happening. So to have all these skills in you is very important. Although you know that you have a hired editor to edit your videos, you have a writer to write for you, so you have all these people, but if you have the skills on your own, it's like an extra plus for you, right? And okay, so editing skills are important, and then you also learn how to write, right? Writing, you may think you have a basic skill of writing, but to write for TV and to write for news, online news, and to write for paper is print. Print is basically paper, not just paper, it's magazines and all that. So these three categories are very different. So you may think they all come into the same writing skills, but no, the way you write for TV is very different from the way you write for paper or print, right? And the way you write for print is very different with the way you write for online. So writing skills actually requires a lot of practice, a lot of learning as well. So until today, I'm actually still learning when it comes to different programs or different contents that I'm creating, how to tweak and how to make things more catchy and interesting. It's a constant learning process when it comes to writing your scripts, right? So that is something that is very important as well when you're studying for media. And camera handling. So for those of you who want to be in front of the screen like me, you may think like, camera, I don't need to know about camera. That's why we have a cameraman, right? Yeah, that's what I thought as well. But unfortunately, you need to know how the camera works, because if you do not know how the camera works, you will not have enough knowledge to be in front of the camera, to be very honest, because you need to know how to favor the camera. Cameras, when you're on TV, especially when you're in a studio, cameras will constantly switch. We don't have only one camera, we have like about 3 cameras in a studio. So cameras will constantly switch, and every time they switch, you need to be able to turn to the camera and not forget your train of thoughts. So imagine there's from camera A, the director has switched to camera B without giving you any warning, but you realize the light is off and you need to see camera B, the light is in camera B. You need to turn to camera B without losing your train of thoughts, because you were speaking. Imagine you're speaking and speaking and speaking, pop, the light is gone, but you're not done with your sentence. So you just need to turn and continue speaking. So it's not a very easy skill, but it's something that comes over time, right? So also you need to know how to handle the camera sometimes, because you might never know when it's emergency and you need to do everything on your own. So there are times where, you know, we've had breaking news and the cameraman left the office because someone else in his shift is supposed to come in, and you know they were stuck in traffic, and then there was breaking news and I had to run to the studio and I adjusted the camera on my own. I placed it in a static shot, and then I went in front of the camera to report. So it was not, it's not how to say, it's not something that, it's not very easy as what you think, because you think that every time someone's in front of the TV, that's all, they're just speaking. But actually no, it's beyond just public speaking. It's knowing all these things that come with it, right? And reporting is a very crucial skill, not just for news. So reporting means for news, reporting means reporting exactly how it is. But if you're going to write for a magazine, or you're writing an article for a magazine, that's also reporting, but it's reporting in a different angle. So how you make your your sentence more flowery, you know, how it will seem a bit more interesting to your audience. So that is an important skill for you to know. Now, if you write for TV, how to write it very short, because TV has no time. TV programs are really short, concise, compact. So what you write for print, you cannot use for TV, right? So reporting skills are very important. And especially when you report in front of the camera, what are you going to say? Because sometimes you don't have time. You don't have time to prepare a script. And even if you have a script, you can't read it out. Imagine reading out from your phone like this. Okay, hari ini di Putrajaya, you can't do that, right? So you have to be very engaging with the audience. So how to actually report without having to see a script? A lot of people ask me this question, like, how do you actually speak without having a script in front of you? So my point for that is you actually have pointers in your head and you build sentences based on the pointers. So that's how you practice reporting. So that is also a skill that we'll have to adopt. And voiceovers. So voiceovers is it's a very good skill to take up, even if you're not going to be in the media. You know why? Voiceover actually is something that can actually pay you. You know, there's a lot of voiceover talents out there. You can just give your voice for cartoons, for animations, for programs, for even educational, you know, snippets. So voiceover is a very good skill to actually learn. So if you're in the media, if you're going to do media studies, it's a topic on its own, right? So that will be a good skill for you guys to learn. Now, I'm going to just briefly go through the media experience, my media experience. So I've been in the news for almost 8 years, I guess, 8 to 9 years. It has been always a very fast moving industry. Okay, it's a very fast moving industry. It's something that doesn't rest, right? And we do not have public holidays. We do not have weekends. So if you're ready to come into the media, be ready to also lose all this. Yeah. I mean, you do have your off days. I'm not going to say you don't have your off days, but being in the media means actually working long hours as well, right? You do not have your office hours at all. So you'll be on shift basis, you'll be on rotation basis. This is Nightline. So my news was at 12 a.m. every day. So imagine reading the news at 12 a.m. and having to have the clearest, most awakened mind at 12 a.m. It's not the easiest thing to do, but some days it was really difficult because at 12 a.m. sometimes I'm really sleepy already, but you need to be awake because it's news, you know, and suddenly there'll be something happening at 12 a.m. somewhere around the world, somewhere, you know, probably in US and UK, where, you know, the how to say, the economy, their business, the markets are still open. So yeah, so it's very important for you to train yourself with long hours, with the no rest, but it's a good experience. When there's passion, I think everything just falls into place. Yep. So this is also a snippet from Nightline. Nightline used to be a very, how to say, for me still Nightline was okay because we only focused on doing Nightline when I was in Media Prima. So for me, the most toughest period was when I was working with Astra Awani. Okay, this was with edition. Before I go to Astra Awani, this was with 7 edition. 7 edition was the 8 p.m. English news with NTV7. So this was me reporting about an earthquake that struck Philippines. So this was quite a big news that time. So yeah, this, by the way, this is called augmented reality, where I'm actually in the earthquake, but I'm not. So the whole set makes you feel like you are actually experiencing the earthquake. Yeah. But yeah, okay, let me speak about Awani. When I was in Awani, the reality of work there was more of, you're not just a news anchor or you're not just a producer, but you're a reporter, you're a news anchor, you're a producer, right? So when you're a reporter, you actually come into work, you go out to report a story, you come back to the office, you write the story, and then you write other stories, and then you go and start reading the news. So you basically have to be an all-rounder when you're in Awani. But in Media Prima, it was a bit more different. It was more like, if you're a reporter, you're a reporter. If you're a news anchor, you're a news anchor. So they are more niche. So it really just depends on the channel, how they want things to be. So this was me reporting for Malaysia Memilih. This was on the election day. So that was me showing, I actually voted, and here I am reporting now. So this was exactly on the election day. And this was our first English news in Astro Awani, News Night. So this was a couple of snippets during my days in News Night. And on top of all that I've learned in, the media studies, one thing comes into handy is, other than TV, okay, other than reporting in TV, other than whatever experience I'm getting in TV, you get a lot of jobs for hosting as well. Because you're a TV personality, people want you to come on over, host concerts, host beauty pageant, host business conferences. So you get a lot of projects like this, and your PR skills actually brings you a very long way, because you get to host these kind of programs, right? So that's also a plus point while you study media studies. Okay, so I think now I'll just quickly move on to the biggest question everyone has been asking me, and probably you guys have in mind as well. Why the shift from TV to, digital, right? So to me, it's because of the media evolution. And this is not me discouraging you guys to be on TV, because TV has evolved alongside the media as well, right? But from what I've experienced, right, everything is becoming digital today, right? TV is more of, I would say TV is a dying industry. So unless the channels or the TV stations start evolving, it won't go far, because a lot of audiences are taking control of what content goes out. Audiences are taking control of what they see, what they want to see on TV, and whatever we show them on TV, they are free to comment, they give ideas, they advocate, they do their own research. So it's not like those days where what you get is what you see is what you get, right? So right now, technology has put our content on silver screen, right? And silver screen has actually gone to our mobile phones. Like it is practical, right? The first thing you do in the morning is you take your phone and you check for your messages, right? You don't, first thing in the morning, you open the TV and see what's the news out there. No, you don't do that. You check your messages, you check Twitter, you check Instagram, you check your social media, you see what's happening in the world through social media, right? And on top of that, movies. We no longer watch movies from channels anymore. We watch movies on Netflix, on Amazon Prime, on YouTube, on all the other, on-demand platforms. So it has evolved. Media has evolved tremendously. And take Disney, for instance. Okay, Disney is a great example of how media is evolving here. Disney is a channel on a TV, right? Basically, it's a TV channel. But they just came up with Disney Plus Hotstar, which is their on-demand channel, right? And they transformed their TV content to on-demand, to a digital platform, without giving up their contents, right? So TV technically is not dying, but it's dying in a way where it's becoming digital, right? So TV has to transform digitally. Now, people view content everywhere now. They don't just view it at home. So take me, for example, if I'm out eating alone, I actually turn on Netflix on my phone. I just place it there and then I eat while watching Netflix. So you can actually bring your content, your viewing anywhere and everywhere. Okay, so this entire evolution is important for channels or for the media landscape to realize, for them to evolve. So for me, the future is digital, right? Because we are taking our silver screen to the smartphone screen. And that's how audiences, that's how you and me want to consume media. We have no time to sit in front of the couch. I mean, sit in front of the TV on the couch and watch, right? We just want to have everything on the go right now. So for me personally, the shift was made because I want to learn. I want to learn how is the digital world working. And to me, I've always realized that although media is my passion and content creation is my passion, but how evolution works with it is how we learn, right? So to me, it's important to learn and grow as the media evolves. So I took the shift to Shopee, and Shopee is an app, by the way, for those of you who do not know. I'm sure everyone knows, but for those of you who do not know, it's an e-commerce app, but they do have a live streaming feature where they create contents for audiences. So you can actually go to Shopee Live and you can see the contents there. So I create contents for Shopee in a way that, we are learning, so this whole how to say shift to digital was for me to purely learn, right? So that's what I was doing. And okay, so disrupting the norm. While I had a discussion with Jeremy the other day, I think Jeremy pointed out a very interesting notion, right? He said, why is it, Pritha, that it's interesting how you actually did something not everyone would do. Everyone will not dare take the shift to go into the media, because a typical Asian family, like what Jeremy mentioned earlier, every parent wants their child to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, a teacher, a lecturer, or whatever that's stable, whatever that is a job that will keep going, which is true. I will not deny that, because you will never not want a doctor. You constantly need a lawyer. You constantly need teachers, because teachers need to teach, right? But media members, I don't even think in future, we want to have the same type of media members. So media is a very shaky industry, I would say, because it's constantly evolving. But the whole point here is to constantly learn, and that's what I'm doing. So when you know something is evolving, you need to move with it. You need to start learning and adapting. For example, I'm very sure 10 years back, we never had e-learning. We never had webinars like this. I'm sure I had to come to MCKL to literally speak, right? So we never had things like this, but right now we are learning. We realize there's a platform called Zoom. We can do our webinars easily this way. We do not need to, rent the auditorium. We do not need to be there in person. We can save energy, time. Just this 1 hour dedicated for the webinar, done. And everything is done online. So it's really important how you learn and move with it. So if you want to be in the media, my first advice to you is for you to be very clear about what you want. Okay, that is very, very important. You need to be clear with your path, right? You need to be clear with what you want to do, what role you want to play in the media. Because for me, when I wanted to be in the media, I was very, very clear that I wanted to be in front of the screen. But while I was in front of the screen, I started realizing I kind of liked the production side as well. So that's when I started becoming a producer, and then I started creating content. So this is how you need to be clear with what you want to do. Secondly, get a degree to support your passion, no matter what. This is an advice my mom gave me, and this is an advice I'm going to give you guys. No matter what job you want to do, have a degree to fall back on. Okay, because end of the day, just say if you were to lose a job, you still can use your degree to get another job. Because you never know when recession hits, or you never know what's going to happen, what's the future like. You never know there's the fourth industrial revolution coming up. You don't know what's going to be replaced with robots anymore. So yeah, so you need to be able to always have something to fall back on. And I think a degree is a solid background to it. And that's the reason why I did a Bachelor of Arts, where I have a wider degree with communication. So communication includes PR, marketing, a lot of things I can do besides media as well. So always have a degree to fall back on. And the third most important part of being in the media is to keep evolving with the industry. And if you see your company, because of course you're not the boss for the company, right? You need to evolve. You can give suggestions to the company. But if you see the media company, because in Malaysia, a lot of media companies are still very old school. So if you see the media companies, not being able to evolve alongside the industry, you evolve, you make the move, you go to where things are evolving and moving. Right? So it's always important to learn, evolve, and be passionate about what you do. And the last question, I know all of you will ask me, can media make money? Like being part of the media, will you be able to make money? Yes, you can. As long as you're passionate about what you do and as long as you're smart about what you do, you can make enough money. So just keep that in mind. And I'm very sure you guys will, get to do what you want to do. So that's all, guys. I'm going to pass this back on to Jeremy.
Thank you so much, Pritha. I think it was really very insightful what you just shared, something that's very heartfelt. I like how you started with your journey of MCKL and you recollected the good old days. Mr. Ganesan, yeah, we all knew him and loved him. So really,
yes, you're such a chirpy person.
yeah, Mr. Sunshine, I can see is the first person in MCKL usually in the morning. Yeah, so thank you so much for sharing that. I think there's some brilliant insights. I think Pritha has taken you through, not only what it is like to be in front of the camera, but also what happens at the back, something that we will never see, and that was really insightful for me to know that, you need to know how to work a camera, where to stand, what to do, it's not only about talking and, just bringing out your ideas, but to understand what's happening around you. And, that was really very interesting as well. Thank you so much, Pritha, for sharing. I will build up upon a couple of points. I'm going to share a quick presentation of AUSMAT as well that you brought up and go through that. We have a couple of questions that have come in on the Q&A. So we will address that in the later part. But I think through the slides, you will get your answers. I think one of you asked, what skills do you need, to be in media and so on. I think Ms Pritha has done an excellent job of explaining all the skills that were needed, in terms of public speaking, communicating, being adaptable to change. All right, these things are really important and basic skills, I think, in any industry as well. And the other one was a bit more relevant to AUSMAT. What subjects do you need to take, in order to pursue a degree in media and mass communication, for example. I will cover that in my slides as I go through and explain to you a little bit about what we offer. And then, if you're still not sure about it, you can ask us questions after this. All right. So let me just very quickly share my slides with you on the second part of this webinar, where I'm going to just talk a little bit about AUSMAT and what it is about, what it entails, what we can offer you in MCKL. All right. Not only to do with media, but of course on a broader perspective as well. All right. So I'd just like to welcome you once again to AUSMAT 2022. That's the year we are in now. All right. And just to give you a brief understanding. Okay. So what is AUSMAT? All right. AUSMAT is short for Australian Matriculation. All right. And usually when you think about Australian matriculation, right, many of you will be thinking that, oh, okay, Australia, and I have to matriculate to get in there. When we think of matriculation program, it means like, okay, I'm already headed to Australia and so on. All right, I want to break that misconception. Okay, it's called Australian matriculation because it is, we are directly linked to Australia, but what AUSMAT is actually a pre-university program. Okay, as you can see in my slide here. It is equivalent to STPM or A-level, all right? And what it is actually the year 12 of the Australian education system, right? So if you're a citizen in Australia, you would be doing this as part of your school in year 12. Now, it doesn't limit you to only go to Australia, like I mentioned, okay? It is a program where you have worldwide recognition. You could do AUSMAT and end up in Germany, for example. You could do AUSMAT and end up in the UK, for example. You could do AUSMAT and end up in Singapore. You could do AUSMAT and end up in Malaysia and one of our local youths as well. All right. The program is recognized anywhere and it is fast becoming very well known. All right. For a couple of reasons. Okay. One of the main things that you gain in the AUSMAT is, or what students really like about the Australian matriculation, is that it has a combination of assessments. You're not only tested with a major exam. A lot of you would be coming in from a very school-based kind of environment or exam-based environment, okay, where you would study, and there's that one final judgment day of an exam coming, all right, and you put all your effort into that, and it's a do or die kind of thing. Like either you do it or you die, all right, in a way. So with the AUSMAT, it kind of breaks that up a little bit, and this kind of gets a lot of interest of the students that come in, okay, because like I said, it has a combination of assessments, right? What do the assessments look like? Okay, now when you hear of AUSMAT, what is really famous in Malaysia is also the SAM program, right? South Australian Matriculation. They're kind of similar in nature, all right, whereby they are both dependent upon assessments, internal assessments, and your external as well. But they have some differences, and I'm just going to walk you through that very quickly. All right, the first difference, as you can see here, right, is that the AUSMAT is administered by the Western Australia government, but the SAM is administered by the South Australian government. Okay, so South and West, what is this all about? Yeah. Now, if you look at the map of Australia very quickly here, you would see that Australia is this huge country that have been divided into not five states actually. There's about 6 states here in a sense. All right. And each state has their own education board. They write their own exams, they write their own curriculum, unlike Malaysia or even the UK, okay, where it's all country-based. The whole country, everybody sits for the same thing and you're done, okay? But in Australia, they're a bit more different, all right? Each state has their own exam, all right? And they issue their own certificates, but however, later on, it's all consolidated, and then you will get something like this one as the Western Australia Certificate of Education, which is recognizable throughout Australia and around the world as well. So in terms of the state that is administering these exams, that's where you have the difference. So Western Australia is what MCKL is linked to, all right? And if you're talking about Western Australia, then you're looking at, you may have heard of Perth, Australia. Yeah, so that's where we deal a lot with and so on. South Australian matriculation is more Melbourne, Adelaide, and those areas, or rather Melbourne is in Victoria, rather VCE. Okay, South Australia is more Adelaide and so on and so forth. Okay, so these different states give you different certificates, but we are linked with Western Australia. Now, what's specific about that is that when you look at the AUSMAT program, right, and then you can see that I've circled it at the bottom here, our assessments are 50% coursework, 50% examination. You jump over to South Australian matriculation, you see that there's 70% coursework and 30% examination. All right. So before you go and rejoice and say, hey, wow, it's more better for me to do SAM because it's 70% coursework. I like to warn you a little bit on this. You know, what is the kind of downside to having more percentage in terms of coursework is that a lot of students, you know, when you come in, you're coming in from exam base. All right. So you need that period of adjustment, okay, to be able to adjust to the assignments being done, because your test will come in maybe about two months into the program. You will have some short tests and some things where your marks are going to be calculated as well. All right. So if you don't really adapt to it and so on and so forth, and if you've got 70% of that weightage is your coursework, then you're in a bit of trouble as well. So what's good about AUSMAT is, you know, we kind of take that into account. We kind of understand where the student is coming from, especially you guys, you know, coming in from a disrupted year, you know, where learning is online again, offline again, COVID, quarantine, you know, all these things, right? So, you know, with that, AUSMAT kind of balances out a little bit. Okay, we got 50% coursework, but you still have that 50% examination at the end of the year, which, you know, you should put your effort into and score and so on. Okay, all right. So these are kind of some differences in terms of both the boards that they're offered. Okay, now I'll just zoom in very quickly on what was the problem and what are the things we're offering you at MCKL currently. Now, in 2022, SPM was delayed again. All right, so a lot of you will start for your exams sometime March going into April. Okay, results will probably come out end June, beginning July, I suppose. Okay, so what happens is your whole year is kind of delayed. Okay, students used to already be starting in a pre-U program. You're still waiting for results now. All right, so in previous years, if we didn't do anything, right, you will have to wait till 2024. Now it's 2022, 2024 for you to get into university. Okay, not only that, you're also getting into a point where your learning has been disrupted as well. So all these things are the effects, and we actually do see it as well, all right, in students as they come into our gates. So what we have done here, the AUSMAT program, is we have two programs that are planned with you in mind, all right? One is the mid-year June intake 2022, okay, and slightly before that, we have the Prep AUSMAT course, okay? So what is the Prep AUSMAT course? It's kind of a bridging course, you know, that brings you from SPM, IGCSE, you know, understanding that you are coming in from a year that you may have missed out some lessons, sitting at home online, you know, not able to get that peer engagement, the teacher engagement, all right? So to kind of give you those skills, all right, coming into the AUSMAT, okay, to focus on fundamentals, see where you're at, right? And the program here is going to be very student-centered. Again, like Pritha mentioned, right, the MCKL, one of the things about MCKL is we are big, but not super big, all right? So you still have that family element, you still have that attention-based kind of learning, all right, where the lecturers and, you know, can kind of focus on you and give you that push that you need in a sense, okay? And this Prep AUSMAT course kind of eases your transition to college, all right? We're going to be moving from a school learning, you know, where it's very like spoon feeding kind of thing to making you independent to learn, okay, all right? That's one of the things Pritha mentioned as well. You know, she moved from TV to digital because she wanted to learn. And if you don't learn, right, you're never going to grow, okay? One of the things that really, one of the sayings that really is very relevant today is that we need to be ready to learn unlearn and relearn. I'll just repeat that very quickly. Learn, unlearn, and relearn. All right, you learn stuff, you know it today, tomorrow you got to like be ready to say, okay, that's all. The market has changed, things have changed. I got to unlearn what I know, I got to relearn things. All right, okay, simple things like, now lectures have to be done fully online. All right, and you need to learn how to adapt to that and so on. Okay, all right, so Prep AUSMAT helps you with that. We're also focusing on the mid-year June intake. Okay, if you may need some time, maybe Prep AUSMAT is too soon. Okay, there is a June intake where the Prep AUSMAT will filter into that. Okay, and this will enable you to sit the AUSMAT exam in March 2023. Okay, students will finish in 1 year, so you're not delayed anymore, and you will get to join university by July 2023 rather than waiting for January and February 2024. So you get about 6-7 month advantage over your peers in a sense. Now, one of the key things about AUSMAT is it is a quick program. As Pritha mentioned just now, she said it was 11 months. It is still 11 months. So you get in, you're quick, you spend time here, and then you're off to uni. All right. So that's something that is really important for you to understand about the AUSMAT program. Okay. Now, I'm going to tackle the question on what are the subjects that you need to take in order to do media as well, but more on a broader perspective. We offer comprehensive subjects, those that are related to the STEM subjects, right? Science, technology, mathematics. So you can see the fundamental ones here like biology, chemistry, physics. We have IT, applied math, and methods. Okay, social sciences, you see the list there, and of course, languages. All right, I want to draw your attention a little bit to the social science and languages because these are the ones, these are the subjects that you would want to take if you want to get into media. All right, okay, like psychology, economics, business. Now, you may not see what has business got to do with media. All right, what has economics got to do with media? As you heard Pritha talking just now, right? She was on shows like Nightline, Money Matters, and you need to know the content. You need to know what's going on with the economy if you're interviewing somebody. All right, so you got to understand a little bit of these things, and we do provide you for that. Psychology. So what does it got to do with the media? You're interviewing a person, reading the cues of them. Are they able to cope with you? When to slow down, when to speak up. These kind of things. Understanding human behavior. So all these things provide you with good fundamentals for you to understand, okay, what it is to be in the media as well. Now, AUSMAT, what's very specific to AUSMAT? Now, you could do all these other subjects in other programs as well. You'll be asking, yeah, I can do psychology in other programs. Why do I need to come to AUSMAT? Now, the key about AUSMAT is that we focus a lot on language. You must take a language. It's compulsory. All right. And we offer this English, and English as an additional language. All right. And what we do here with the students is we kind of really ground them. All right. The syllabus is such that you would need to write articles, you would need to present pieces, advertisements, you need to sell your ideas, talk about current issues. For example, in Australia, racism is a big thing, the whites and the blacks that are going on there, So how do you argue a case? All right. Even plenty of Asians as well in Australia, you go there and study and sometimes face a couple of instances where there's racism and so on. So how do you argue points like this, for the person and so on and so forth? So in these subjects, right, language especially, we really focus on it to get you to get up, speak, communicate, verbalize your ideas and those sort of things. So therein, there's a distinctiveness in terms of AUSMAT. Every student must do this. And AUSMAT is for those of you engaged, all right, rather than just, come study and then leave, in a sense. Okay, so these are the subjects that we offer. These are some important dates. Okay, the commencement of the prep program is very soon after the Raya break. It's starting already on the 9th of May. It's a very quick course, 5 weeks, but I think it's quite comprehensive the way we've organized it. So you will gain some good fundamentals and you will progress finally into joining the June intake. All right. Okay, so if you miss the prep AUSMAT, then you still can come in for 13th of June 2022 and we start the actual program. Okay, it's 1 year, all right, about 11 months. And we will prepare you with all the necessary skills and assessments and so on. And you will sit for your exam in April of 2023. All right, your results will be out by May, and then by June, July, you're ready for uni applications and so on, and you should be off on your way. Okay, so take note of these important dates, all right, and do contact us if you need more information on that. Now, is AUSMAT for you? All right, let's answer that question very quickly. Who should take AUSMAT? Okay, students who don't like 100% exam-based assessments. Okay, if you think that you are somebody who likes to manage your time better, you like to, be more assignment-based, rather I deal with things in small chunks than sit for a huge thing at the end, then, AUSMAT is for you. those who can cope well with continuous assessments, all right, it's a good skill to have, especially when you go into uni, you go into the working world, because things change. You will have continuous things coming your way. So you need to be able to adapt. All right. And those who want a quicker pathway to university, the shortest program that you can do of a pre-U will be AUSMAT. Okay. I don't think it's anything faster than that. All right. It's just about 11 months to a year. So if you want to get to uni quick, this is the program for you. Okay. Now, characteristics of the students who would like AUSMAT, those that like problem solving, okay, because there'll be a couple of things that you will need to look at. You need to think out of the box a little bit. Students who like to communicate, all right, that's why, you know, media is perfect for this, okay. You must be able to work together with your peers. You can't sit alone and just look at your book, because AUSMAT will encourage you to talk to your friends, you know, do things, do projects and so on, group assignments, assessments. So that will really benefit you. Okay, and those who want a more application-based approach to learning, right? More applicable, always thinking about concepts and so on and so forth. Okay, all right, so that's pretty much my slides for today. I think I've gone through the main points of what the program can offer you and what you can do with it. I'll just very quickly open up the floor to some of your questions that you have. I think, yeah, okay. Pritha, this one for you, I think, from Vincent Leong. All right, he just goes on to say, what is the main difference being on screen and off screen? Which do you recommend for a student who likes to write?
Thank you for the question, Vincent. Okay, so basically, I think the main difference of being on screen and off screen, to be very honest, if you like writing, I think you would be more suitable to be in maybe print or online media. But if at all you still like being, you know, in TV, you want to do TV programs, you still can write content for TV, but production would be more of it. So you'll be a producer. Producer is where you create content, you start writing scripts and all that. You basically, you curate the content, you decide how the content is going to look like, and then you create the scripts for it. So again, it really just depends on what you want. If you're not a person who's interested, you know, because not everyone wants to be on screen, right? So if you're not a person who's interested to be on screen, then I don't think the on-screen experience is for you. But off-screen, definitely, if you like writing, I think it's either you can be a producer or you can definitely go into online media. Online media is doing really well right now.
Thank you. Thank
you.
I
hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you, Pritha. There is another one from Sri Danya Mahindran, okay, and it reads like this. How will this webinar help our perspectives in the media landscape? All right, so maybe you want to take that, Pritha.
Yeah, sure. I think to be very honest, when I was starting off, like I told you guys earlier, you know, after SPM, I know what I want to do, but I don't know how to do it. Right. So I wish I had a webinar like this, to be very honest, where I can actually hear someone from the media industry tell me what to do. Right. Or even like what Jeremy just basically cruised us through what AUSMAT is all about. And it is true what he was telling about the subjects we need to take, because I actually took English, I took psychology, I took, we had politics and law that time. So I took politics and law, I took business management, and I took math. So I took these 5 subjects, and it really helped me, because what happened was when I was hired by AUSTRA Awani, I was actually immediately on my first day, I was told that I'm going to be in the business desk. So I was going to start reporting business news, and I completely had zero knowledge about business except for the business management course I took in MCKL. So thank God for that. I had that little knowledge. So I'm glad that we are having this webinar, because I'm hoping that those of you who actually want to be part of the media would have at least the smallest knowledge of where to start off from. Like you can start off by taking AUSMAT, getting the basic subjects like, you know, English, psychology, more of the arts side, because you want to be in media anyway, you know, and then after that you can move on to your degree.
Thank you so much. Yeah, very interesting. Thanks. It's another one from Rekha Sri. All right, and it goes like this. Any tips for fresh graduates to find jobs in media?
Tips. Okay, to be very honest, I feel okay, what do you mean by tips finding jobs? Because media industry, I think there's a lot of job vacancies, to be very honest. But again, it really depends on what you want to do. You know, on screen, again, you can't apply straight away to be on screen. Like if you want to be an on-screen media personality, you can't apply straight away. You always have to start from the behind the scene, and then you go on in front of the camera. So usually going in front of the camera at least will take you 6 months to a year if you're good. If you're not, it will take at least 3 years for you to train. So in my case, it took me almost 6 months for me to start off reading, but that was also because I had to adapt to speaking Malay fluently. For coming from an English speaking background, my Malay wasn't great, so I had to like immediately learn up speaking Bahasa in 6 months, just 6 months. So it was a challenge, but again, my main tips is prepare yourself with what's necessary, right? The one I told you, you have to have knowledge in broadcasting, linguistics, and public speaking. Your PR skills has to be top notch. So yeah, before you apply a job in media, make sure all these, you have a basic knowledge.
Right, thank you, Pritha. I think one thing that really resonates with Pritha's story is that she had an ambition, to be like Oprah Winfrey, for example. And as I was talking with her as well, the determination, to stay true, to be humble as well. You don't immediately go in front of the camera. She started 6 months before, and to be determined, I'm going to do this. I want to focus on this particular aspect of it. And it's a living example of how your determination, your drive, your passion pushes you, all right, to striving for your goals. So yeah, that's really helpful, I suppose.
And I agree with Jeremy when you say that you have to be humble, because media is a very difficult industry, I would say. Difficult in a way that you're open out there for criticism. You're out there to learn. You have to constantly learn on the job. So it is something that you have to be humble about. You have to constantly learn. Yep.
Thank you so much, Pritha. Yep, so I believe it's been a really productive session this afternoon. I hope all your questions are answered, and if you have anything more and so on, please don't hesitate to contact us in Methodist College. Please drop by, come by to find out more on our programs. And if you just, don't know what to do, you need some advice, please come drop by, speak to our counselors, and we'll be able to give you some direction in where you should be going and what you should be doing. And with that, I would just like to thank Ms Pritha for taking her time this afternoon for speaking to us and sharing with us the valuable insight on sliding through the digital landscape. I hope it's been very beneficial to each and every one of you, those of you who are thinking about doing mass comm and broadcasting and things like that. Thank you so much. Do drop by. Take care. Have a good holiday. Be safe, and we'll catch you in a little bit. Before I end, I would just like to remind you that there is another session, all right, on our FutureEd series. Okay, so just very quickly, I share that with you guys, which is coming to you on the 14th of May, all right? So here you go. Okay, it's all right, share this to you. All right, so FutureEd series, and the next topic that we're looking at is unleashing the power of data with data visualization. All right, this is a master class, okay, which is 3 hours, 9 to 12 p.m. Okay, and we have a very experienced person, Ms. Nur Nadia Akila Nur Effendi, who's a technical consultant at Quantdatics Academy. All right, so if you have time, please do come in. I think it'll be quite useful to you, those of you who are interested in digital content and so on. Please do come and join us for this masterclass. Thank you for spending time with us. I know we are a little bit over by a couple of minutes, but I think it's time well spent. Take care. Thank you, Pritha. Thank you, all of you, and we'll catch you soon. Bye. Take care.